Hello YouTube, hello Twitch, welcome back to a second overview of one of the most ridiculous designs. And I can't even believe that this ship existed, it just wasn't refitted like this. But one of the most ridiculous designs that will be released eventually this year on the live server. We have the... I don't know what's the front, I can't see it. Barbiano. It's a monstrously big destroyer, although I would think it's actually a cruiser, but it's counted as a destroyer here. Obviously, it's no citadel. That has a blistering amount of guns of 16. 16 guns. 90mm SAP guns. Before you now say anything and say 16 guns must be giga broken. First of all, you can't use all 16 on one side. You can use a maximum of 12 guns per side, because the middle part, they're sitting next to each other and they're not in a line. Easy to count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you will be able to use 12 guns, which is still an enormous amount of guns. Now, how do you balance out such amount of guns? And if we look around on the ship, what are we missing? We have no torpedo armament. Legit, no torpedo armament. We have 3.2... I built the captain already on it. We have 3.2 seconds of reload, which could be further buffed with something like Fearless Brawler. So 2.9 second reload if we are spotted and we rush down an enemy. That's an insane value, honestly, if you look at the stats here. And you also have pretty decent damage and a good armor penetration capacity of 26mm. Now, the downside is you have only SAP shells. You don't have HE, you don't have AP. There is an F key on the ship that gives you longer reload, 23.7 seconds. Okay, click on it real quick. What it will do is your reload will be increased, but you get more pen. Suddenly you can pen 34mm, which will be helpful mostly against cruisers, because when somebody tells me it will help you against BBs, yes, against nose and back armament of BBs it will help, but usually on BBs you will farm the superstructure down. It's far bigger than cruisers, it's far bigger than cruiser superstructure, and unlike cruiser, they're not covered with 32 on the side most of the time. They have like massive 50mm platings there, or directly the citadel belt. So I think you will mostly use this feature for heavy cruisers, for example. It is also pretty big, the ship. It has 37,500 HP, which is a lot for DD. But again, there are heavy downsides if we look at the stats. AA we don't really need to mention, again, it's not really worth. The ship is blisteringly fast with 41.6 knots, and it also has a speed boost for another 15%, which means you go roughly like 48-ish, 47 knots. I don't have the values right now in my head, but it should be like, what is that, 4.1.6, so that's 10%, then we had 45.6 something, then, yeah, 47.5 knots roughly. Turning circle is absolutely atrocious for a DD with 880 meters. That's bigger than, for example, the Blücher, as a Hipper class cruiser, so you have a comparison. And the rudder shift is also not that good. As another consumable, you get the exhaust smoke generator. People know it from Italian ships. Basically, it's a smoke screen that goes with you full speed. It's very short, but it goes with your ship. Last but not least, concealment fully built is 8 kilometers, which is a pretty bad value for DD as well. Now, how do I see the ship? How do I think it's gonna be played? And here comes the point where I'm a bit afraid. I personally don't think, even though it looks like a funny design and so on, I don't think this is a ship that's healthy for random battles. And let me explain why. This ship has no torpedo armament and heavily relies... I mean, you can use islands for the guns, but other than that, heavily relies on the smoke screens. It's too big probably to fight on the outside, And you have only sep guns. So basically what it means is, when you farm bigger targets than DDs, you will struggle quite a bit, because they can, for example, angle and minimize your damage to a minimum. You have no HE, you have no torpedo armament, and you will be kind of lackluster against anything bigger than a DD. On the other hand, if one of these things, and I imagine that's gonna happen with all the players in this game, smokes up at you, runs at you with 50 knot speed nearly, completely obliterates your DD, and then dies to something. It's kind of a frustrating experience. On the one hand, when you probably play it, it's gonna be like, yeah, cool, I can delete the DD. The other DD player is just gonna be having a completely frustrating experience, but then you die instantly as well. Or you're gonna be kind of useless for the rest of the match, because the bigger ships can just do so much against you to minimize your damage output. I don't think the ship is going to be healthy. I don't think... I mean, I might be wrong. Maybe people play it completely different. But I imagine the guy smokes up, runs into the cap, kills the DD, and then dies. So basically, just like a YOLO Emilio, with the only difference that you have nothing to... No real counter to bigger surface ships, because you don't have the dented torpedoes. So I personally don't see this ship, or I presume, again, I can't say anything about gameplay, I can't take it out now and show you or whatever, but I presume, in my opinion, when people see this, they're like, yo, 12 guns, we need to rush in and then we die. So I don't think this is gonna be a healthy ship for randoms. However, I might be completely wrong. We'll see when it's released, when we can play it, when we can show it, how it actually plays. But as cool as the design is, I don't think it's gonna be really good for random battles. I feel like it's gonna be just another DD that ends at the beginning or whatever, or ruins the experience for a different DD completely, but then it's gonna be useless against the BBs and cruisers. Anyway, my stand on it, again, I would love to just take it out and see how it actually performs, what we could do with it. I presume you can also play with islands a bit or something to make and then try to farm people that are distracted. But who knows? How it will perform, how it will be played, I don't know. How I will be playing it, I don't know. Can't show you again. We need to wait until it's off NDA to see how it actually works. But from what I see stats wise and not having torpedoes, I don't know. I really don't know. Again, it does look like it's definitely fun design. But anyway, thank you for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe on the YouTube video and tell me what you think about Ada Barbiano. See you then, you travelers. Bye bye. So